Hello and welcome. It's Raymond Modulin, aka the Real Estate Monkey. I'd like to welcome everybody to this week's edition of Real Estate with Raymond. I'll be playing Raymond throughout the entire flight. You can be yourself, all right? Today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of working with a team versus an individual, all right? So we're going to give a couple people some more time to jump in here and see what's going on. And I'd like to remind you, if you have questions or comments, put them right down here in the bottom. If you're listening to this in a recorded state, feel free to email me with questions at raymond@myrealu.com. All right? So today's topic is working with teams versus individuals. Now, when we get into this, I want to make sure that you guys feel free to make comments. I want to say hello to Brad. Brad, thanks for joining us. And Todd Cook's here today. The awesome Todd is here every week. So Todd, I want to thank you. I've actually did some homework this week and wanted to write out some notes so I didn't seem like I didn't know what I was talking about, because I'm usually pretty good at fooling everybody when I don't know what I'm talking about. And today we're going to be talking about teams versus individuals. All right. If you have comments or questions, feel free to leave them right down here. And I know some of you guys that have joined in are on teams, and some of you are actually work as individuals. So let's start out working with as an individual. What are the pros and cons of working by yourself? All right. I'm going to actually read this, okay? In the long run, you're actually building your own brand. All right. So if you're working as yourself, you're building your own brand. You're accountable to yourself and no one else. So if you want to take the day off, you don't want to drive all the way to Avon to show a property, you don't have to answer to anybody. The big reason that most people like is obviously you're not sharing commissions, all right, or paying other worker salaries. Your expenses are solely your own, so it's the sole responsibility. You don't have to worry about distributing the workload because it's all you, baby. When you're an individual, it's all you. You answer the phone. You go to closings, you do all of that. One of the downsides that I found when I first started is socializing. As you can tell, I'm quite the people person. Working by yourself sometimes is very bad because there's no one ever to talk to, okay? You get to monitor your own progress. You deal with the clients individually in all phases. And you actually know what to expect from your coworkers because it's just you, all right? So if you're new and you're just joined us, what we're talking about today is the pros and cons of working with a team versus working in an individual. All right. So we talked a little bit about the pros of working as an individual, and probably the number one is the commission split. You don't split it. Now, here's the downside to working as an individual. There's no one else to pick up the slack. If you're sick, there's no one in there to do any of the work that needs to be done. Self-motivation. You have got to be your own cheerleader. All right. There's no one there to push you on. So there's also that downside. Todd will get to your comment here in just a minute. You can actually become overwhelmed. If you have too much work, we all know that sometimes things slip through the cracks if you're trying to juggle 37 balls at a time. So that's a downside to working by yourself. I call it the inchworm or the accordion effect, is where you work with a client and then you market, and then you work with a client and then you market. So there's no division of labor. All right. Todd put a pro: shared expenses, take vacations without screwing clients over. Actually, Todd, you're talking about a team. Don't get ahead of me, dude. All right. You're talking about the team. We're talking about an individual right now, but yes, you are correct. One of the downside is there's all the business expenses are you. All right, so you're the one paying for the signs, you're the one paying for the business cards and all of that. What we're talking about, if you just joined us, is the pros and cons of working with an individual versus working in the team concept. We've talked about the pros. One of the best pros was you're not splitting commissions. One of the best or one of the worst downsides to an individual is it's all you, all right? So if you go on vacation and you take a break, or go to the movie. And there are plenty of comments. For those of you out there that are not friends of mine, become my friend on Facebook. I'll move you over to a group called Real Estate Professionals. There was a big discussion a couple weeks ago about somebody sending an offer at 11 p.m. and wanted an answer at 8 a.m. And, the whole conversation was, sometimes agents sleep, sometimes clients sleep. So working by yourself, that problem pops up more often. Hey, I want to go to the movie and take the day off, or I want to be with my wife, or I want to go on vacation. So those are downsides, okay? Now, I know a lot of you guys out there work with teams, including Todd. I know that Todd, you work for a team. So let's talk about some of the pros of working with a team. You have work that's division. One person may do the showings, one person may do the flow, the paperwork documentation, one person may go to closing. So there is division of labor, which allows you to become really good at your section. There's always someone, a helping hand, because you can be now 2 or 3 places at once. You can do 2 showings at the same time instead of just one. Share business expenses. If you got to put an expense for the team, you guys can pool into that. And there's always someone there to cover for you. Now, another good aspect for the team is those of you that are new agents. New agents want to get started. They want to start making money. They want to start learning, but they really don't even know the process of learning. So sometimes if they can come in on a team, that will help them benefit, because they can get thrown in, and now instead of it all being relied upon them, they may only have one little section and they can still see the other working parts going on. So a lot of agents like going to the team concept because, hey, I'm only the buyer's agent, or I'm only, I put the signs in the yard, or I do the marketing. Everybody else does the work. So those are the pros for the marketing. Now, what are the cons to working with a team? You're only as good as the weakest link. What that means is if there's someone in your team that is hard to deal with or is constantly not there and they're interrupting the workflow, they become the problem for the entire team. So 4 or 5 people can suffer because of one person. A team has to work like one unit. So because of that, if you get people with different opinions or different methods of way they think they should be doing business, you don't always necessarily have like-minded individuals that could cause a problem or a disruption. If one says, well, we should be working for investors, and another guy goes, well, I really love doing commercial. So you've got that issue of like-minded people being on the team. Not all agents are the same hardworking. Some may work dusk till dawn, some may come rolling in at 10 a.m. So there's a problem. And once again, those all kind of relate back to the weakest link. The team is only as strong as the weakest link. Another problem with working as a team is you may not get a choice in what deals you end up taking. If you are the buyer's agent, you may not get a choice. If you are the listing agent, all you do is the marketing, you may not get a choice in which deals you take. And because of that, you also might not handle your favorite part of the deal. Some people are people. They like going out, shaking babies, kissing hands, all that good stuff. So they may like that. And hey, we already got one of those. We need somebody that's actually going to be a documentation expert that makes sure and tracks all our paperwork and deal flow. That's what your job's going to be. So if you're working with a team, you may not end up doing the part of the business that you like. Now, what I want is for some of you guys to leave some comments or ask questions down here in the bottom. If you work with a team, let me know you're working and tell me what your best strength is for working with a team. If you're an individual, let me know that, all right? I work as an individual. I own a brokerage, but I don't have anybody that works on my team per se. So I will tell you, and I can actually repeat about any of these, the definite pros and cons. The obvious con is, when I went on vacation for a week, I had to have one of my agents cover for me, and I had to call my clients and say, hey, look, I'm going to be gone, but I've got this agent who's going to be talking to you, so don't get shocked. The upside is I don't split my commissions with anybody. So those both work out as true for the individual. I've worked on teams before, back when I was a Coldwell banker, first starting out, and that Coldwell banker is not even here anymore, but I worked on teams then as well. One of the major downsides to working on a team that I found was very successful team. Did a lot of business, made a lot of money. I did one portion of the work. The problem that I found out was I said, oh, I'm making good money. I can afford to start my own and start my own company. I was unaware of some of the activities that actually went on in the other portions of the team because, hey, Neil did that. I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't realize how much trouble documentation was and flow through because I didn't handle any of that. I went out and did the listing. We got the listing signed. I handed it to Neil. He did all the paperwork. He ordered the title company. He did all of that. I erroneously thought, hey, I'm doing really good monetarily. I could go out and start my own. And then I found out that I was great at my portion, but wasn't great at some of the other stuff. So that transition from a team to an individual becomes a problem. All right. So what we're talking about now is the pros and cons of working as a individual versus a team in the real estate world. All right. So if you have questions, feel free to email me. I'm here all week, Raymond@myrealyou.com, or give me a call. Either way. If I use your question, I'm going to send you some great swag and some stuff like that. Also like to remind you that I'm the director of Real University, so you can go to myrealyou.com, and we've got some professional development courses coming on. We got some free courses there, continuing ed, and obviously pre-licensing. If you have questions or statements or comments about this video and the team versus an individual, I encourage you guys to put them down here. Now, I see a lot of people have joined, like say hello to Brent and Kate and Dante's here. So feel free, the more you guys interact with this video, the better this video actually becomes. I'm just kind of here spouting out some information, but the real learning comes from you guys communicating to other agents via this medium. All right. So feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you think about the individual versus a team aspect. Is it a pro? Is it a con? What did you really like? What didn't you like? And like I said, the things that we talked about, I'm going to put this up on the MyRealU. If you do not have an account there, you can go create a free account and hear this in its entirety with all the past episodes of Real Estate with Raymond. Looks like we've been about 10 or 12 minutes, and that's really what I want to take your time. But I want you to take away from this that there are some definite advantages to working with the individual, and there are some definite advantages to working as a team. I think individually you guys need to sit down and think about, are you a team player? Are you an individual? Are you a lone wolf? What's going to best suit for you? I know a huge team down here on the south side where one of the guys is a marketing and that's all he does, but they close 200 and 300 houses a year. So the old concept is I may be making less split on a team, but we're doing more deals. All right. So I guess it's kind of that old, Macy's or some high-end versus Walmart. Yeah, I make all my commissions, but I'm limited in the number of deals I can do simply by my hours and my ability. Not that my ability is bad, but I can only handle so many buyers at one time. Whereas if I was on a team and all I handled was just buyer, and didn't have to do anything else, I might only get a portion of the commission, but we're doing a lot more deals. All right. So until next week, we'll be here at 12 noon next week. And if you've got an idea for a topic, email me your idea. If I use your idea like I did last week with Spence, I'll send you some cool swag, t-shirts and stuff like that. All right. Until then, I want to say thanks and peace out. I'll talk to you later. Bye.